Hi guys, and welcome to the Sunderland vs Wigan match preview. So Sunderland do go to the Stadium of Light and they welcome Wigan this Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff. So we're going to be previewing this game. Now firstly, looking at Wigan, we're very, very familiar with them. Of course, they did come up from League One with us and we started to forge a little bit of a rivalry, should I say, when we were in League One. It mainly stemmed from them sort of picking up former players or ex-Sunderland players. I mean, you can't really knock them too much. At first we were kind of mocking them a little bit because it were kind of players that, some of them anyway, that maybe didn't go quite according to plan with us, other than Charlie Wyke, who had one very good season with us, of course. But then they did better than us in the league and they're currently doing better now, so we have no real room to mock them for having former Sunderland players. But in terms of a former Sunderland player, I just want to get this out of the way quickly, and it is the man I just mentioned, Charlie Wyke. Now, of course, when Charlie Wyke did first leave to Wigan, there was a little bit of animosity shown from certain Sunderland fans. I was a little bit annoyed, and I wasn't, man enough to admit that I was a little bit sour grapes, a tiny bit anyway. It was generally more so because he joined a sort of rival club at the time, and I was a little bit sour, as were many other people. But some others do take it a little bit too far. There's been certain chants that were made. He's been receiving certain inbox DMs on Instagram, I believe, that are absolutely disgusting given what he's been through. The man practically, collapsed and died, essentially. And, just through the miracle of the way things went, he happens to be, not only playing on a football pitch for, professional football on a Saturday, he's alive and well. Do you know what I mean? So I have, that's something that should be saluted and not, vilely sort of, or vile songs shouldn't be sung about me. That's just not me. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of songs that, you might say it's pushing it a little bit, and sometimes I'm on board with them because, I like to antagonise people. But for me, that's a bit too far. That is a bit too far. So for me, I would urge Sunderland fans not to get at Charlie Wyke in that sense at all, because I just think it's vile. I really did. I put a tweet out on Twitter as well earlier about it, and a lot of people seem to agree with me. A lot of people just seem to be nitpicking about the way I've worded it. I'm not telling anyone what to do. It's just what I think is right, that's all. But anyway, getting into the review itself. Now, Wigan, they're relatively inconsistent. I think they've got 2 wins from the last 5. They did win the last time out, though. It was at their rivals, Blackburn. They got themselves a really good 1-0 win. They lost the previous couple of games before that, I do believe. But they're still going, do you know what I mean? They're 9th in the league. We're a couple of points behind them. But the thing that I can always say about Wigan, and you saw it when they were in League One, the spine that they've got down their side is absolutely fantastic, and the togetherness and the way that they gel, you can't knock it at all. Blackburn, when I looked at that game and highlights of that game and the way they played, their press is absolutely fantastic, particularly with Nathan Broadhead. We know what Broadhead gives us, another former Sunderland player. I've got the likes of Broadhead, Wyke, Power, James McLean, Fletcher. They've got an abundance of former Sunderland players in that side, so it's just going to happen, isn't it? It's absolute odds on for at least one of them to bag in it, or for something to happen regarding them. So it wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, they're a good side. They're a really good footballing side, and they have ample options to go with, whereas we don't. You know what I mean? I keep on saying this. We have we have an abundance of options to go in midfield. We have 0 strikers, and we keep on hammering into this because it's the only thing at the minute that we can really talk about in terms of that. We can juggle around with the midfielders, maybe a system, but when you have no strikers, what can you do? I was asked if we should play the lad from the U side, Thompson, if I would go for him. I said no, because I just think that relying on a young lad with practically no experience in the situation we're in, I don't think that's the answer right now. Only a few weeks ago we were playing a certain way against Reading with no strikers, and we managed to get a good 2 or 3 goals and win the game. Do you know what I mean? It's an informed Reading side, so I think it's just trying to get our way back to playing at that level with no strikers, because we have such a good amount of players that are creative, and if they really had that bit of confidence, that bit of bite and that bit of ruthlessness, I think we can score goals, and we've shown that night against Reading. It's just kind of dropped it since then, and it's trying to combat the tactics that are against us, and I think we will have, or we can have, or we do have, should I say, the ability to do that if we sort of give and show the right tactics and influence on the pitch in different areas. So anyway, I'm going to go into my sort of preferred 11 for this game, and I'll talk you through it. So as you can see, I've gone for Patterson in a goal. That is Alessi, Bart and O'Nien across the back. Now, Sirkin, he did play in that under-21 game the other night. So does that mean he's fully fit? Probably not. But if he was running okay, I would love to see him in a left wing-back position, because that frees up Jack Clarke. takes him away from that role on the left-hand side, which he's been fantastic at, but he looked brilliant, or at least a lot more dangerous, already up front and down the centre against Swansea. So when we're struggling against sides, which we could quite easily do against Wigan, to have Clark already down the centre, I think that is one hell of a shout for us. So I'm going with Clark straight down the middle, circling his left wing back, because he can play there, we know this. Gooch on the right, Daniel and Matete in the middle. This is where I was really, really struggling. Daniel, I know he's hit a poor on a form, I know he has, but, you know, just at the stage of my life, get behind him. I think we could do it. And Matete, I think last season, he started off relatively promising and he just turned one of the worst performers in my opinion. But in the sort of glimpses we see on the Moby when he comes on the pitch, he looks a different player, he looks really, really good. So maybe give him a shout and he can be that box-to-box midfielder that we thought he was going to be when we first signed him. Now up with Jack Clark, I put Diallo and Roberts as well. I could easily put Burnett in there as well because a couple of those players, they haven't impressed me over the last game or two. So that is the starting 11 I would maybe go with. I've probably missed out a couple of players and missed something out there. But anyway, what do you think about that starting 11 and who would you go with on Saturday? Now it is the dreaded score predictions. Now, it is a difficult one because I don't have a massive amount of confidence, particularly with the whole no striker situation at the moment, and Wigan have so many players in abundance to choose from. There's so many former Sunderland players in there, and we know what history we've had with former Sunderland players. They always seem to bag. So I can see that happening. I am going to go with a Nathan Broadhead goal early doors, but I do think we are going to equalise with Clark, and I think it will remain 1-1. And I probably would take that. I would obviously prefer a win, but I just think, given the amount of Sunderland players, or former Sunderland players should I say, there really is a massive amount of room for embarrassment here. So a 1-1 draw, I would probably take it. Evens, I'm going down to the game, I'm going up to the game should I say, so I wouldn't be too pissed off with a sort of last minute equaliser at the stage of my life. I wouldn't be too pissed off. But either way, what do you guys think the score is going to be? Let me know in the comments down below. If you have enjoyed, hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, take care and stay jammy.